The Tennessee Titans have officially fired Mike Vrabel, just like we all thought they would. Welcome back to another Titans Bros video. It's Titan Bros, not Titans Bros, Titan Bros. Right? Is that what my logo says?
Yes.
Yeah, Titan Bros. Okay.
He just wanted to show off the shorts. That's what
that was not me showing off my merch. But anyways, as the title of the video suggests, Mike Vrabel got fired. And obviously I was being facetious because this was not something I saw coming in any way, shape, or form.
No, I did not. And I remember us discussing that too long ago. With the way the season ended last season and this season, the whole season, how this season went. Like that, Mike Vrabel should definitely be on the hot seat going into next year. Like he should definitely be on the hot seat. But you and I never discussed that he was actually going to get fired. Now, now that stuff is coming out, we are hearing there was some strife and conflict that was, behind doors, but stuff that you and I didn't know. But I gotta admit, when it happened, I was shocked. I was.
Yeah. I'm more okay with him being fired now than I was when it first happened. Because when it first happened, I was pretty irate. I'll be honest with you. I'm like, this is the best head coach we've had since the early part of Jeff Fisher's career. And I mean like late 90s, early 2000s Jeff Fisher. I was like, and we're firing him because we had two bad seasons when, if honestly, it's only a season and a half that was bad. I was like, Amy's just too quick to fire people. She fires Ken Wisenhunt not even halfway through his first season. Hires Mike Mularkey after 2 seasons, both with winning records. One of them going to the playoffs and winning a playoff game, and she fires him. And now she fires Mike Vrabel. I was like, she's kind of keeping that leash tight on these people. So like that was like my first initial reaction to the Mike Vrabel firing. But the more they're uncovering or reporting, the more I'm like, I get it. But at the same time, I don't know why people can't just disagree and just be like, all right, well, we just have to disagree on this and then move forward. Like, I don't feel like this had to amount in a firing. And if any of you listening don't know exactly what it is, this was reported by Titans reporter Joe Rexrode. I don't know if he's a reporter, he's a journalist, reporter. I don't know what his technical job title is. And then Diana Rossini with The Athletic. She's very tapped into the Titans organization. She has a source in there. Some people think her source with the Titans is Mike Vrabel himself. But anyways, is what they reported a couple days after Vrabel got the axe, is after J-Rob got fired after the 2022 season, Mike Vrabel said he wanted control and final say over the roster. And reportedly, she said no. She said, I seen it happen here with Jeff Fisher when he got too much power, and that was the end of Jeff Fisher. I've seen it with Bill O'Brien. I've seen it with Bill Belichick. When people get all the power, it never works out, which I do agree with her on that part. Has it ever worked out?
No.
I agree it hasn't. So I understand there. Well, why couldn't that just been that and him be like, okay, it's worth the shot? The next thing that happened to bring up some friction, like a lot of people originally were saying it's friction between Rand and Vrabel. I don't think it was actually Rand and Vrabel. I think it was Vrabel and Amy Adams Strunk. The next thing that caused the friction between them two was Vrabel wanted Ryan Cowden to be promoted from within because he was going to kind of be like a yes, sir, whatever you want, sir, to Vrabel. So Vrabel almost sort of kind of gets his way. So he said he liked Rand Carthon, but he didn't think Rand Carthon was ready because Rand Carthon was the number 3 guy in San Fran. So Vrabel's like, how about we still give him a promotion? We take him from being a number 3 guy in San Fran, bring him into Tennessee, make him be our number 2 guy, just behind Ryan Cowden, the great honorable Ryan Cowden, because that everybody knows league wide. And she wasn't for it. She was like, I'm going to go with Ran, but she's his boss. That's fine. And then the final straw, minus the losing, obviously, if we had been like 12-5, went to the playoffs, he wouldn't have gotten fired. The final straw apparently was when he went during our bye week to be inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame. Mike Vrabel made some comments. Should have brought it up so I could read it word for word. But he said something to the effect of, not every organization is like this one right here, and basically talked up the Patriots. And Amy Adams Strunk took that as him actually taking a shot at the Titans. So I'm kind of like in between, where like some people are all in being like, no, he shouldn't have been fired. Vrabel's a saint. Other people are just like, just out of nowhere, people are like, yeah, Vrabel's trash. Get him out of here. What a egomaniac. Blah, blah, blah. A lot of folk take that approach. I kind of feel like some of it, like I think, is dumb Vrabel wanting to be in charge of the roster because it's never worked for a head coach to also have control of the roster. But then also I feel like Amy Adams Strunk shouldn't have let that hurt her feelings. He's going to be inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame, but he's going to come in there and be like, just so you know, you people ain't as good over there as they are over there in Tennessee. Like, what do you expect him to say? You know what I'm trying to say? Plus, you have to almost differentiate two different things. A playing career with the Patriots, head coaching career with the Titans. Do you agree with this?
Yeah.
Because I know you had your 5-minute piece, so that's why I kind of didn't feel bad just kind of rambling here and letting you listen. But like, that's where I feel like she was wrong.
Yeah, a lot to unfold there, because when I made my video, some of the stuff was not known. But I start with the Patriot thing. I agree. I mean, he's getting inducted to the Ring of Honor of the Patriots. Of course, he's going to talk good and positive about the Patriots. I have no problem whatsoever him doing so. And that was shame on Amy, if you ask me, that she got so upset about that. That, again, she should know that, of course, he's going to do that, though. But I do agree with you in the sense that I don't think Vrabel should have full say of the roster. That never works. And so kind of shame on Vrabel for getting that power hungry. But I will say, I just wish, like you said, that this didn't have to be a firing. Vrabel, you coach. Ron Carthon, you build the team. End of story. But I guess Vrabel's most people all in that industry, especially when you're a coach like that, probably you got an ego and probably got hurt a little bit, and I'm sure probably just got beyond repair, and this is what they had to move different directions.
But here's my question: did it have to get beyond repair? Because obviously, before the 2023 season, Vrabel said, "Hey, I want control of the roster." She said, no. And then they hired Ran. And all of the Ran and Vrabel not getting along has been basically debunked. Like Rand said that them two didn't have any problem. They were lockstep the whole way. Vrabel said in one of his last press conferences that he wanted to be in Tennessee. He wanted to win with Rand. He wanted to win with Chad Brinker, which was the geeky analytics guy that Rand brought with him. He's like, I want to stay here and I want to win with those guys. I don't think there was friction between them two. If there was, there wasn't much. Now, maybe Vrabel was mildly annoyed, because it wasn't his guy. But they seem to have gotten along just fine. So and obviously Amy got her way. Rand was the drafter. He drafted, signed people in free agency. So to me, on the surface, it just looked like Vrabel asked for this. She said no. So Vrabel, was like, whatever. And then things just were fine. And obviously the season didn't go fine. So I just don't understand why this had to end in a firing. Do you agree?
I just have a feeling, again, Vrabel is a prideful man. He has an ego. He probably doesn't want to be told no. So I bet there was probably just a little comments here, a little bickering there. And obviously I have nothing to back this up, but this probably was built up for a while. And I think that's probably why Amy had her feelings hurt when he said what he said, because she was looking for reasons to be hurt. I just have a feeling those two was just not getting along. And So then that's what did it have to happen? Like, should this happen? No, but I just have a feeling Vrabel, being the man that he is, does not like being told no, and it kind of snowballed up, I had to guess.
I suppose.
Either way, I ask you, um, where do you sit now? Good move or bad move? Vrabel's gone.
Here's the thing, and you're gonna agree because we've had small conversations about this. I'm there's no in between here. I am 100% okay with it if we get us a nice young. No, I guess it don't have to be young, but at the same time, it is nice if they can be young. But a nice young offensive-minded head coach to pair with Will Levis, and that be something that we can look forward to the next 10, 12, 15, 20 years. But if we go defensive head coach, regardless of what coach it is, then I'm all out on the move. I mean, obviously not that it matters because it happened already, so I have no say or no pull in it. But if we hire a defensive head coach, I would much rather just take Mike Vrabel.
Yep, that's basically what I said in my video. I'm like, I have to see who we get before I can say completely if I like this or not. Because yes, I agree. Any other coach that's not an offensive-minded coach, Vrabel's good as it gets in that way. Basically, if we're going with a Dan Quinn, or if we go with a I know we interviewed the Lions defensive coordinator on the Lions defense sucks. So yeah, that makes sense.
And then
We're like,
Antonio Pierce with the Raiders.
yes, that's who I was thinking about too. Him too. I'm like, no, Vrabel's good as all of those people. He does the same things that those people do. They're not X's and O's guys. They're men, leader of men kind of guys. Vrabel's good as it gets as those people. So we're not going to improve on that if that's the kind of direction we want to go. But if we want to get a guy who's an X's and O guy, a guy who's, on the offensive side, who schemes things open, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Mike Daniels, those type. If we want to get a coach like that, then I would actually be okay with this because you and I both saying that I kind of wish even when we had Vrabel, like I like Vrabel, but I've been kind of wanting to get a coach like that. That's the way this NFL is going. You look at the best teams, you look at the playoff teams. The offensive-minded coaches is usually the way to go.
I mean, sadly, yes. In today's NFL, it is, which I've said Vrabel, I think, is a top defensive head coach. But I also prefer an offensive head coach.
Yes.
But then you stop and think, Ken Wisenhunt was an offensive head coach. Mike Mularkey was technically an offensive head coach.
He was an offensive coach, but he felt like a Mike Vrabel type coach more than he felt like because he didn't call plays. He wasn't one of those people. Because you're right. Mularkey was a Titans coach. He was an offensive guy, but he was not good. Anyway, but here's the thing. How confident are you that the Titans are going to make the right decision as head coach?
Part of me says not confident at all, but then another part of me says Mike Mularkey was definitely an improvement over Ken Wisenhunt, and Mike Vrabel is definitely an improvement over Mike Mularkey. So technically, we've made step ups every single time. But at the same time, if you think about like our last four head coaches, we got Mike Vrabel, Mike Mularkey, Ken Wisenhunt, and Mike Munchak.
A lot of Mikes.
Right? A lot of Mikes. 3 of them are Mikes, and I think we have 2 Mikes we're interviewing for head coach.
Oh, gosh, those 2.
Anyways, yeah, there was going to be one of them too. But anyways, those 4, Vrabel's the best of those 4. So history would tell you more than likely we're going to get somebody who's not as good. Mm-hmm. And now here's the thing: nobody is ever going to hit it big time if they're not afraid to gamble a little bit, to risk something. Firing Vrabel is a very risky move. Could pay out if we get a nice offensive-minded head coach. I mean, let's be honest, it's a gamble. Like I said, out of the last 4 head coaches, Vrabel is, in my opinion, by far the best of those 4.
Yeah.
So statistically, we more than likely will hire a coach that is not as good, that will have for a year or 2 or 3 and then fire him. But then there's also the chance.
I would say one thing, there's so many reasons why I want an offensive coach, but we got ourselves a young quarterback, Let's get somebody that can help him succeed. Because, I mean, just look at, this is not a Mike Vrabel thing. This is just a defensive head coaches, period. They struggle with getting their quarterbacks right. You have people like Mike Daniels who gets a Tua, and Tua is not looking good with Floyd. What's that guy's name? Head coach for the Miami Dolphins before him. I can't.
Adam Gase, or is that after Adam Gase?
No, that was after Adam Gase. He's the
Vic
guy who
Fangio
sued the NFL because of the racist. But anyway, that guy, I can't think of his name.
Brian Flores.
Yeah, it's him. Yeah, him. Like the Tua wasn't doing so good with him. You get Mike Daniels, offense coach, and then Tua all of a sudden is having,
He's a completely different person.
Different guy. That's what you want someone to do with Will Levis. Did Will Levis look unavailable? But there's can we get a coach that can bring something else out of him? Also, defensive coaches, some used to struggle getting offensive line right. Offensive line sucked for a while. Vrabel got one early and he was good, but as soon as we've been bad for years now though. Can we get an offensive coach that can turn that offensive line around? So that's the way to go now. Get a good offense that can put up points.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, like, I'm a very, very positive human being.
Especially
optimistic. I try to be, especially when it's off season, because why do I want to spend the whole off season and be like, oh, we're going to be terrible, and this is why. There are things that Vrabel did on game day that I didn't like. I think Mike Vrabel would pick, if there's two receivers, one receiver's just playing a little better than the other one, he would make the other one active instead, simply because he has special teams value. That annoyed the crap out of me. Like Kyle Phillips being a healthy scratch, like 2 or 3 of the last couple of games. Healthy scratch because they're like, oh, well, we'll put Colton Dowell in instead because Colton Dowell can play special teams. I'm like, but you got Kyle Phillips who could create some separation and create it quick.
If he's not hurt.
If he's not hurt. That was one issue. Another issue, and this was a Mike Vrabel / John Robinson thing. So many times they didn't hire somebody who's good at one position. They loved versatility. So, like, instead of being like, oh, we need a left guard, we need this free agent here, he's a B+ graded left guard. Instead of doing that, they'll be like, how about we get this guy? He's a C as a left guard, which is what we need. He'd be like a C grade left guard, but he can also be a C graded right guard and maybe a C- center. So versatility, just like they did with Jamarco Jones. They bring in Jamarco Jones. He can play tackle and guard. They bring in Daniel Brunskill. Like, he can play all over the line. Versatility. Sometimes you're just better at doing certain things. And I feel like that's something he did all the time, where he was so focused on versatility that he wouldn't get somebody who's just good at one thing.
Yeah, I feel that. I get that. Yeah. Yeah, and Vapor was not perfect in any stretch. He had his issues, for sure. That's why I'm like, we can improve on him, but we can easily downgrade. You know what I mean?
Especially if we go for, a defensive coach.
Exactly. And I'm not going to be foolish enough to say every offensive head coach works. That's definitely
not Ken Wesnut, Mike Mularkey.
Yeah. So there's plenty of head coaches out there that's offense. But look at the people who's got fired. Some great, but the defense people: Mike Vrabel, Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, Stanley. Is that his name for the Chargers?
Brandon Staley.
Yeah,
Staley. Yeah, Staley.
Yeah, defensive coach. I mean, there are defensive coaches that got fired. I don't think that's a coincidence to me.
And then Mike Tomlin's kind of
stepping down, maybe.
Stepping down, maybe anyway, and it might be one of those situations where after all those years, he doesn't want to get fired.
I think slowly franchises are realizing you don't win it anymore by playing tough defense, discipline, and running 3 yards in a pile of dust. You don't win it like that anymore. That's a good strategy if you have an offense that's completely inept and you just don't turn it over. Let's just try to win like that. But you don't win Super Bowls. You can make a team that's not maybe that good slip into the playoffs. You can do it by that strategy, playing discipline, just run it, don't turn it over. But I don't know you, but let's build a Super Bowl team. That's what I want. And you don't win Super Bowls like that. You gotta make Derrick Henry best running back in a long time. And I don't mean just in Titan history, but I mean just period, right? Great running back. Didn't sniff a Super Bowl. We sniffed it, I guess, but we didn't even make it to the Super Bowl. with Derrick Henry. You can't get a better back than that. Did not make a Super Bowl. You just don't make Super Bowls like that anymore. You don't.
Well, statistically, Derrick Henry was the best running back for 2019, 2020, because it was his 2000 season. He was on pace to go 2,000 yards again in 2021 until he broke his foot.
I hate that he did that because 2 back-to-back 2,000 yards would really help his Hall of Fame potential. So go ahead.
But so he's best, maybe second best running back for a good 2 or 3 year stretch. If we have the best or second best quarterback in a 3 year stretch,
you're making a deep playoff pushes.
Yeah, several, if not every single year.
Yes, and it's just the way to go. And some defensive coaches do not understand that.
That'll be the one other thing that I love about Vrabel not being here. I'm still a little sour about all of it overall. And I'm assuming this is a Vrabel thing because he did it with Todd Downing and he did it with Tim Kelly. We were way too comfortable with having a 4-point lead
and just running
the ball in the second half. So many times over the last 2 or 3 years, we jump up to a nice lead in the first half, and then the second half we come out and literally so many times we don't score a single point more.
Yeah. Oh, I know. We do that a lot. One thing I find interesting, because I didn't know how I felt about either two, because once again, I feel like we could do better than both, but we could do worse than both. But I guess we're done with our coordinators, Shane Bowen and Tim Kelly. I guess
Shane Bowen's been around a while too.
He has been, but I'm assuming whoever comes in is going to get their own guys.
Shane Bowen's already interviewed for 2 other defensive coordinator positions, Giants and Jags, I think.
I would say this.
He was such a C coordinator in my mind.
Yeah,
he's not an A or B. He's not a D.
Do better or for worse. I just don't like young quarterbacks just going through one system after another. I don't like that. So this was already not a good look for the Lefs unless we can get ourselves a good offensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So hopefully that's the way to go.
We're 21-ish minutes into our video. So do you want to go over some of the names that's come up?
Sure. Do the top ones because we interviewed a bunch of people.
Yeah, I think we had like 7. We did Mike Kifka. I always forget how to pronounce the offensive coordinator for the Giants. We did his interview today, I believe.
Right side of the ball.
Kafka.
Giants kind of suck. Not to mention, I think Dayball does the play calling.
Yeah, he's offensive minded, but I'm kind of out on Mike Kifka.
Me too.
Antonio Pierce, we interviewed him today.
Nope.
That's
he's a Vrabel kind of type of coach, and I would rather have Vrabel. All right, go ahead.
We have interviewed Bengals OC Brian Callahan. He's to me, he'd be a B-.
Here's the thing. He is kind of what's the head coach name for the Bengals?
Oh, Bengals, Zach Taylor.
Zach Taylor is. Because Zach Taylor, I want to say he came from maybe LA, where he was the OC, but he really wasn't because Sean McVay was the head coach.
Right.
And that's what, and people's like, is he even good? Now, they'll turn out decent, maybe because of Joe Burrow. He's kind of that same way, and it's just like, you're the OC, but you're not calling plays, so how good are you?
Like Matt LaFleur, when we got him.
Yeah. Yeah, who was he for?
Rams.
Okay, who's the OC? Okay, then maybe Taylor was for another team. Or maybe it was another Rams OC got picked up. Been. But, so anyway, go ahead. Yeah, that's a
he's going to be a rookie. He'll be a rookie play caller, first year play calling. And I'm just like, I don't know. But he is offensive minded. So that's why it's like a B-. Would be like a B- hire to me. We have interviewed not interviewed, but we set up interviews with both Ravens coordinators, offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator.
I'll say this. The Ravens defensive coordinator has done a good job in Baltimore, but he's a defensive coordinator. What I say? Oh, I thought you corrected.
No.
Sorry. So he's a defense, and then the offensive guy. He was only there for 1 year, but he's done a good job. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But is 1 year enough time to say, yeah, he's a good head coach? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, go ahead. What?
No, I was just looking to try to find some more names. It was Brian Callahan and Mike Kafka is the ones that we did today. We also have, these are the ones I'm more excited about because these are the people I'm kind of my number 1 and number 2 pick. Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. He's young. He's only 36 years old. He spent 5 years with the 49ers with Ran before last year going over to the Texans to be their offensive coordinator. Now, here's a question. Did the offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, make what's the guy's name? CJ Stroud look that good? Or did CJ Stroud make Bobby Slowick look that good? Or was it some of both?
Yeah, that's tough to say.
It is, because let's be honest, like Ryan Tannehill never looked better than those 2 years he was with Arthur Smith.
It's weird how some coordinators can just get more out of a player than other people can. Because, yeah, for whatever reason, Arthur Smith and Ryan Tannehill, they was good for each other.
Very good for each other.
I saw someone suggesting let's get Arthur Smith. Like, no. He
made a lot of questionable decisions as a head coach, just like Bijan Robinson. Some reason he didn't like to play him. Yeah, I'm like, you picked this guy, what, like 7th overall? Yeah. And I don't know. It's almost like he just had. I'm just complete speculation. I'm just making this up. It's almost like they had issues with each other's personalities, so he just wanted to keep him off the field. Now, here's the thing: if Vrabel was still our head coach,
I would get him for OC.
I would get him for OC. Yeah, agreed. But he's not. And my personal prediction, I wasn't making in verbal, which I guess I'm going to do it now. I said Vrabel's going to get a head coaching job somewhere. He's going to bring in Arthur Smith as the OC. I could see him signing Derrick Henry and or Ryan Tannehill.
I think if he signs Tannehill, his team's done because
Tannehill tanked last year, so he just went downhill so hard.
Like the 2 games he played, I guess it was the 2 last games. It just, even though we won last game, he arm just doesn't look like he has it anymore.
No, his touch is gone too. He just like where it just kind of just sails one way and just kind of because like there's this long deep a deep crosser that he just did to DeAndre Hopkins, where Hopkins kind of like looked at him like, did I run the wrong route or something? Because that ball wasn't even close to me.
Anyway, and what was the last person you had? One more person you was excited about?
Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions, which he's my favorite, but he's also a long shot because I think he's the hottest head coach name right now. Yeah. New head coach, because obviously there's possibly Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick,
Jim Harbaugh. That's who I would like.
Vrabel.
I'll say this, and I know some people like this and some people don't, and it's not going to happen. But I wouldn't mind Jim Harbaugh. But I mean, the guy does nothing but wins. But the Titans already said they're not interested, so that's not happening. So Ben Johnson's an interesting one. I mean, he's done well with Goff, right? He's made Goff look pretty good. He's made the Lions look pretty good. But like you said, I think we'll have to get in a betting war to get Ben Johnson. And I hate to say it, it's been a small franchise, and just look at our history. We haven't paid head coaches that much. So I just don't see us getting in a betting war with Ben Johnson. Full Ben Johnson, more like it, but I don't see that.
Yeah, but well, Patriots already got Mayo, Mr. Mayo.
I think that's a bad call. Because you should try to not do the same thing. Change it around. Do something new perspective. You literally got
this is just a Belichick disciple. Played for him for a long time and now coached under him for a while.
You got more of the same, basically.
Yeah, so if I was a Patriot, I'd be like,
yeah.
But screw the Patriots.
So that I don't hate them anymore now that they're not winning Super Bowl.
I don't either. But, I agree.
Anyway, they are out. So you still got what? Titans, Chargers,
Raiders, Falcons. Here's the thing, though. Chargers is kind of a smaller market team. Falcons are a small market team. Titans obviously are. Raiders are a little bit bigger.
Yeah, they are.
A bit bigger.
I think they should stick with the guy they have, and I think maybe I'm just saying that because I want him off the board.
Yeah, I agree. Because one, I don't want y'all to have Ben Johnson or Bobby Slowick, and two, I don't want Antonio. Is that Antonio, right? Antonio Pierce. I don't want him. Yeah. I don't want him around.
I hate to say it, but I think the Chargers, they have a nice roster. They do. So I feel like that is the best job to take. So I feel like whoever they want is going to go there because it's nice weather and it's got a good roster. So basically who the Chargers want the most is most likely going to go over, though, if I had to
Like,
guess.
imagine Mike Vrabel going there.
Yeah, I think that would be a good mix because you
Bring
have
Derrick
Justin
Henry with
Herbert
Austin Eckler in the background.
and Justin Herbert.
Backfield, not background. Justin Herbert, because Justin Herbert's already been groomed and trained and coached on how to be a quarterback, so you ain't got to worry about that. I mean, yeah, it's a match made in heaven, but no, he might take a year off. He says, can't blame him. He looks stressed. He just sit around with sidelines going.
It's funny because they did say the last I saw a quote that saying the last year and a half has been strenuous, and I'm like, you can see on his face, he was actually getting more and more stressed. Remember that time he's like that. That look right there should have been like, okay, he's done. He looks like he is done with this team.
I agree.
But anyway, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I slightly lean Ben Johnson out over Bobby Slowick, but I'm okay with either of those. Yeah, and like I said, the offensive coordinator for the Ravens and the Bengals are just like B-. I don't know anything about the Ravens guy. I don't even remember his name.
From college. I know he came from college.
I mean, he's been good this year for Lamar, apparently.
The thing is, he's going to be calling a different offense for Will Levis than you do with Lamar Jackson, so that's one thing.
Right.
I would say I hope we do it sooner rather than later. No, you don't want to rush this, but at the same time, I would like to get our guy so we can start seeing who he's bringing in as a staff, and start building some kind of chemistry with Will Levis. I kind of would like to get that going.
Yeah, I would too, which is why I am rooting against the Lions this week and against the Texans. Texans because they're in our division. And then one reason for both of them is I want them to be gone because I want them to go ahead and join a team, whether it's our team or someone else's, so that way I can quit clinging to the pipe dream.
That's a good point. I did think about that. I guess we can't really say we're done until we interview someone like Ben Johnson, but yeah, he's in the playoffs.
Ben Johnson, and so is Bobby Slowick. Because the Texans,
OC and DC.
That's true. Because as everyone expected, the Texans are going to the playoffs out of the AFC South.
Yeah. For a while, I thought multiple teams would, but ended up being just the Texans.
There's ended up being a big old cluster jam of a bunch of teams at like 9 and 8.
And I will say that does impress me. I mean, I guess he did well, the coach for the Texans, because he is a defensive coach, but he did turn that team around because they only won 3 games last year and other playoffs. That's impressive. I'll give him that. I mean, also getting a good quarterback will help.
Yeah, CJ Stroud is
the real deal. We
went
from Watson destroying us to CJ Stroud. So
CJ Stroud, yeah. Now the one plus side is Anthony Richardson didn't do squat. I don't mean like good or bad. I just mean like he's basically gonna be a rookie again next year because he played 6 games, but missed 2 out of those 6 games, and then missed the season.
If I was a Colts fan,
I would agree. 1 and number 2, Trevor Lawrence didn't take the next step.
No, he has not. I will give
you that. He had a bad
banged up all the heck this year, but yeah,
he was, but like his rookie season was bad. You can probably blame that on Urban Meyers. It was just a disaster. His second year, he took a step in the right direction. It's very much like a Marcus Mariota year too, whereas Mariota was 26 touchdowns with 9 picks. I think Lawrence was 25 touchdowns with 9 picks. So almost identical, but definitely a nice step in the right direction. And a lot of people had him, to be taking a big step, but he went from 25 touchdowns down to 21 this year. And he went from 8 interceptions the year before to 14 this year.
Yeah, he did have a good year, that's for sure.
He also fumbled 12 times this year and 12 times last year. So it's a lot of fumbles. But anyways, so those 2 parts are good, but then now it's looking like CJ Stroud's going to be the best quarterback in the division. At this point, it looks like it's probably CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Will Levis, and Anthony Richardson just played again 4 games.
Right now. He's a question mark.
Plus, he should have played college one more year. He was 20 years old, and
I wonder why he did that.
I don't know. He was 6-7 or 7-6 as a record for his last season in Florida, and I'm just like, what's the rush, bud?
I don't know. But
Why
either
are we
way,
talking about this?
I don't know.
Vrabel got fired, everybody. Not sure you heard the news.
That's how you know you start getting to the end of the video.
Yeah, that's because we're about 34 minutes in.
I guess that's
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, it was a nice deep dive of both of our thoughts. Where we're like, I love you taking the chance of firing Vrabel, hoping that you could get something better. Because let's be honest, people probably thought the Chiefs when they traded way up to draft Patrick Mahomes, when they already had Alex Smith, a lot of people probably thought that was stupid, but they took a big chance and it paid off, and now they've won 2 Super Bowls since then. So the big chance could always pay out, but then I also have the fear that we'll go another defensive head coach or just a bad offensive head coach, and we're just bad for the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years, just getting a coach, keeping them for a couple years, getting rid of them, and all that. So that's me putting a little ribbon or a bow on my take.
Yeah. Real quick, one more take, and then I'll say another reason I would like to get a coach as soon as we can, hopefully the right coach. But the free agency is not too far off, and we got money to spend. So we need the GM and the head coach to start getting on the same page of what they're doing here. You know what I mean? So anyway, that is my last thing. Tighten up. Hopefully, don't screw this. Don't mess this up. Amy/Carthon. Don't tighten this thing up because they screw things up a lot. Anyway, so don't do that. See, again, half empty, glass half full. Because you're right. We haven't taken the step up each time we got a new coach. But I'm just used to, as a Titan fan my whole life, I'm used to Titans just messing stuff up. So I'm like, don't mess this up. I think, optimistic that we might do well. I am not.
Not with this. For some reason, I don't know why. I know sounds stupid, but I have this like feeling in my gut. I'm like, we're about to go get a leader of men, defensive head coach.
Yeah.
And just like in my heart of heart, I just feel that for some reason. So like, even though I don't love the Bengals offensive coordinator, and I don't love necessarily old Todd Monken for the Ravens, I would still be okay with those so much more so than with a defense. But I think we're at this point, we're beating a dead horse. So should probably call it a video. Before we get out of here, we are going to be doing one video a week, probably. If there's breaking news like a Vrabel firing or something like that, either him or I or both will try to get you some midweek takes, instant reactions, so to speak. I would try to do instant reaction, but I've been working stupid late every day this week, so never was able to make mine. So that's why I was able to like spill my guts out the first 5 or 6 minutes of the show. So, but anyways, so it'll be one video a week at Friday night / Saturday morning. So be looking forward to that. And I don't know what our next video is going to be on, but we'll come up with something. Do you have anything else to say? Okay, that's it. Titan Bros are signing out. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
Boom.